Open up your mind. Let the Oddcast inside.
Hey, welcome back to the Oddcast podcast. Tonight's guest is a man who didn't just buy a motorcycle, take a few trips, and call himself a biker. He chose the road fully. For decades, Scooter Tramp Scotty. For decades, Scooter Tramp Scotty has lived a life most people couldn't imagine, traveling full time by motorcycle, sleeping where the road takes him, depending on instinct, mechanical know-how, strangers, weather, and his own grit to keep moving forward. He represents the kind of freedom that a lot of people talk about, but very few are willing to actually live. And as your host of Motorcycle Riders, we have a deep respect for anyone who doesn't just ride for fun, but makes the road part of who they are. Tonight, we're going to get into the story behind that life. The freedom, the danger, the beauty, and the lessons that only come from years spent on two wheels. Please welcome to the Oddcast, Scooter Tramp Scotty.
All right.
Yay. Now I feel better about myself. I really appreciate that. I was starting to think, what a flake you are, and now I feel better.
Oh, you're
good.
You're living the dream, man. You're living.
I'm gonna jump right into
out.
Scotty, I'm gonna jump right into it. We ride motorcycles obviously ourselves, and so we understand a little bit of what the road can do to a person. But you took it further than most of us ever will. You didn't just ride; you built a life around it. So let me start there. When did the road stop being a place you just visited and became home?
Look, I'm gonna just see if I can put this into really quickly. But at one point, I had a 2-bedroom house with 2 cars. I had a little roofing company, and I worked all the time, and I had bills, and it drove me crazy. And at some point, I left it all. There's more to this story, and I bought a little Airstream trailer, and I parked it on $1,100 for an old Airstream, and I parked it on a friend's property, and he charged me $150 a month. And I got rid of my big GMC truck, and I bought a little Toyota mini truck. Everybody used to drive them. I paid $1,600 and change for my job. I got rid of absolutely everything that I didn't use. I only kept what I used. And all of a sudden, I was making too much money. And I began to cut the workload back. I would work 2 months or 2 weeks, and then I would take 2 to 3 weeks, and I would take 2 months off. And I got bored, and I began doing a lot of different things. And I hit on bike travel, which I always loved. And the trips got longer and longer. And one day I rode over the mountains into the desert. I was in San Diego, and I just knew I was supposed to be out here. So sometimes it's easy to consider that. It's easy to think that I was got out of the rat race by hitting the road. But truth is, this is my product of first getting out of the race. If you want to call it the rat race. Eric. Hey, Eric. Chill out a little, will you? Can you hear him? Could you hear him?
Yeah, we can hear him.
Yeah, please. Just please. I'm at a rally, right?
Yeah.
And Eric can't make. So that's when I knew. And then I used to live in San Diego, and I would travel in the summers, go home, try to make more money in the winters and leave in the spring. And I started looking for ways to have full time. What happened was I would come home, and my spirit, when I got out there, I was alive and awake. And I just kept wanting to go back out. And when I got home, I just wanted to leave again. And so I started looking for ways to stay out here, but it wasn't looking to live an endurance ride, sleeping on picnic tables and see what I'm saying? I was hoping to get a way comfortable enough to work as a long-term everyday lifestyle. I had to do that. Who's got the music on? Would you ask them to turn it down or off for me, please? Background music, right? Can you hear it?
No, we can barely hear the background music, but you're just a little. You just keep going in and out a little bit. That's all. Other than that, you're good.
All right. Is it enough for you to understand me?
Yep. Most of it. Yeah, you're good right now.
I'm out in Mississippi at this rally, and the phones don't work so great here.
Well, I was going to ask you about the rally.
Huh?
I was going to ask you about the rally, a little background of the Gypsy Jean rally that you're at now.
Oh, yeah, I got railroaded into this one, Johnny. I told you that, didn't I?
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, I was at the Sturgis rally a couple of years ago, and this girl shows up riding a Softail. And we became friends. She stayed, a lot of us stayed for a month or more after the rally. We've got a great place, great situation there. And me and her became friends. And she told me her story, and she was in Daytona. She had equipment on, right? And she was working like 80-hour weeks. And she told me that she hated her life. She hated it. And she just had to get to a place where she didn't care what happened to her anymore. So somebody offered her a piece of land to stay on in Arkansas. And she moved there to camp on. And she put in a camp. Then she decided to come to Sturgis. She hadn't been out on the road in quite a while. And she came and she was going to work for one of the vendors. She's from Daytona, right? So she knew how to work vendors. One of the guys that works for the vendors brought her back to our camp because it's free, right? And me and her became friends. But she told me she would watch my videos and she'd put them up in her machine for 5 years. She said that she's like, I won't do that. And we became great. We spent a lot of time. We weren't really lovers. We never became lovers. But we began to go into going out of our camp was steep and rutted. When it came time to leave, she lives at Arkansas, and I was going to the Bikes, Blues, and Barbecues rally. And so I said, let's go together. And on the way out there, she started getting sick. And then started getting real sick. And when we got to the rally, she said, I'm going to go south, and I'm going to go see a doctor. I'm going home. I said, okay. And she called me on her 60th birthday, and she said, pancreatic cancer, they give me 2 months to live. I said, well,
Oh, man.
I'll come down there and visit you on the way through. When I got there, I stayed with her and took care of her till she died. Somebody had to do it. It was amazing. I made videos about this. The most popular video I ever made was the last one I made in this series. I could not even keep up with all the comments on that one. And when she died, she left me everything she had. She didn't wait to leave it. She slept in her bike. It's a 2006 Softail with her written all over it, right? She got it new, and it's got her all over it. And my buddy came up to get it. He was going to store it for her. He'd have gave it back to her if she'd lived. And he said, why don't we have a rally, raise money for cancer? And I said, I'm not raising money for cancer. I don't think they're trying to cure cancer. You know, most of us think that, right? He said, no. He said, we're going to give it directly to the families. And I said, I'll do that. But I didn't think they were going to put it together. But they did.
Yeah,
and
nice.
So now I'm stuck. I've got to come here. So that's what happened. I know that's a long answer, but I know.
Well, you're stuck in it now, man.
Yeah. So this was the night you guys could do it, but it's also the Friday night at this little rally. Nice. So that's in Columbia, Mississippi, the Gypsy Jean Cancer Run. Her bike's here. And her bike's like a mascot.
We'd love to put that barcode up for you, too, so that people could scan it maybe if they wanted to donate. We'll try to get it. If you want to send it over, we could try to get it so that people can donate to the families.
I can send that to you. Obviously not right now while we're doing this, but
right. But
so that's what happened. So all the money, this is like all the money's going. This one's a girl. I think she's 37 years old. She's got a little boy with leukemia. All the money's going to her. She's in bad financial trouble, and she's got a really sick kid right now. So that's what we're doing. If it ever gets big enough, then we'll be able to split it among different people. So my stipulations mostly are that the money goes where they say it's going. And it is. These guys are legitimate here. We know I'm not greedy. Yeah. You go look at my videos, I turn the mid-roll commercials off. So I'm not in it to... Anyways, whatever. That's what we got.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, Scotty, afterwards, if you send me the link or whatever you need to send me, I'll post it at the bottom of the video. And
okay.
Yeah. A follow-up question. The first one I asked you, for guys like me who ride but still have a home base, what do you think we misunderstand most about full-time road life?
Man, I don't know that I can answer that. Once in a while, somebody asks me, especially somebody's girl, don't you ever want to settle down? You know, and I'm like, I've done it a few times since I've been on the road. I've tried it, and I have two problems with it. One, the first one is it's a hard life. It's a really hard life, comparatively speaking. And the other one is I get bored.
Yeah.
Right? What do you do? A friend of mine, he said to me, actually, I had two friends say this, and I answered him the same both times. But Mike, he says to me, he says, I couldn't live like you, Scotty. I said, why not, Mike? I said, you're traveling in a tent, you're sleeping on the ground. You don't always know where you're getting a shower. I know every way there is to get a shower, I think. And maybe I learned, you know, and he said, I couldn't live like that. He said, I need my comforts. I said, well, that's kind of true, Mike. I said, but I couldn't live like you. He said, why is that, Scotty? He said, how's that? I said, well, let me see if I got this right. You go to bed when you don't want to go to bed, so you can get up when you don't want to get up. So you can go do something you don't want to do all day. So you can come home, so you can relax some. So you can go to bed when you don't want to go to bed. So you can get up when you don't want to get up. And then on the weekend, you do the work around the house you couldn't do during the week because you're too busy working, right? He said, that's exactly what I do. I said, yeah, I couldn't live like that. So I don't know if that answers your question. I don't have a problem.
Yeah, that answers.
I worked 1.5 years. What else you got? Let's hear.
Oh, we just got you back.
Yeah, you were gone for a little bit.
We lost you for a minute.
I could try to get on that Starlink thing over there.
I mean, if it's gonna make it a little bit better connection, and if it's not a pain in the ass for you, whatever you want to do. I don't want to make
have.
this.
Did you get my answer to the last
Most
question?
of it. Yeah, we got most of it. Yeah.
Did you get the last part?
The last part, you're gonna have to repeat the last one.
Okay. I said, that's right. I guess that's true, Mike. I said, but I couldn't live like you. And he said, well, how's that? I said, well, let me see if I got this right. You go to bed at night when you don't want to go to bed, so you can get up when you don't want to get up, so you can go do something you don't want to do all day, right? So you can come home and relax so that you can get weekends you just work around the house because you're too busy working during the week, right? He said, that's exactly what I do. I said, yeah, I can live like that.
Okay, nice. We got 80% of the way through, and then you cut out for about 5%.
We're gonna have to try to get this Starlink thing. So how am I gonna do that? Let's see if I can move over to it.
Okay.
You're gonna have to brave the crowd. I mean, these are devoted fans.
Nah, it's not a big crowd here. Shit. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it without starting this thing over again, guys.
That's fine. Whatever you want to do, Scotty.
That's okay. We can just as soon as you're ready to join back in, you can just hit that link in your email and join right back in.
Yeah, we can just relaunch it as soon as you're back.
I got somebody's hotspot, and it's I've got full bars, and that phone's got full bars too, so I thought it would work here. You didn't hear that, did you?
When we did before the show, you were coming in crystal clear and nice, and it's like as soon as the show opened up, it started to fade.
Wonder what happened. Wonder what happened there. Where's that phone at? Sucker's hot. It's real hot. That's probably what it is. This phone I'm using is hot.
That might be it.
Let's see if I leave it out here and cool it off. See if it does anything.
Well, you're right back in action.
Sound better.
You look better,
Okay.
sound better. This it's
Yeah,
good.
got prettier.
You got more handsome just now. I was going to ask you, Scotty, growing up, what were your influences? When you're watching TV as a kid, like you're not, I guess, no, you're old enough to get into the Easy Rider scene and all that stuff. Like, what were your influences growing up?
Well, my father was a dope dealer. Not a real small one either. When I was a kid, having 600 kilos of weed in the house was pretty normal. He's dead now, so I can talk about this, right?
Wow.
No problem. And I don't know. I always loved bikes since I was a kid. I was in love with bicycles and went to motorcycles. You know how it is when you got it. You guys probably have that too. When you're just addicted to it, you don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
nobody influenced me into them in my youth. My father was a really good guy, by the way. He like sold weed. It was the 70s, and then into the 80s. Hash. He didn't sell like heroin and stuff like that. I just want you guys to know that.
Yeah. Yeah, our fathers both grew up kind of riding the Harley scene. They hung out together and they rode in the same kind of crowds. And I always grew up idolizing my father, and I loved looking at his bikes as a kid, and I couldn't wait to get on one. So for me, it was like watching Dad ride around with his buddies, and the guys who he hung out with were all like, to me, I thought like these guys were legendary, That's what roped me in.
Yeah. I was a kid. And when I got older, I got a Suzuki. I had a road bike. But what happened was I began to meet a lot of the Harley riders around me, and it was really different. This was in the mid-'80s, late 80s, something like that. And they were some of the best friends you could ever have. The guy would get in an accident, and he'd be in the hospital. His buddies had his bike at their house, and they'd be putting it back together. My battery went once. I was 125 miles from home with some buddies, and I was out of money. And we were visiting a guy, and he took the battery out of his bike and gave it to me. They were just some of the best friends you could have, and they influenced me into it. They were also, when your bike broke, everybody worked on their own stuff. So people asked me how I got into it. And back then, that's what they did. They would tell me how to fix it or be like, I'll help you or come over to my house. So that's how I got into the Harley scene.
That's cool.
Yeah.
No. Sorry, go ahead, Scotty. I'm sorry.
I wasn't saying nothing.
Oh, okay.
Is the audio still coming through okay now?
You're good now. You're good.
Okay.
You spoke a little earlier about boredom, and this is a two-part question. So now, does boredom equate to loneliness sometimes, and is it different from the boredom that people feel in normal life?
No, I was talking about boredom. Okay. Did you catch the part where Mike asked me, he said I couldn't live like you, Scotty? Did you guys catch all that?
Yeah, we got that part, yeah.
Yep, I think so, yeah, yep.
And I've tried settling down, but the two problems I have with it, one is it's a hard life. Once you work out the details of this life, at least in my case, it's been much easier. I don't get up to an alarm clock. I sit and drink coffee. There's not a lot of pressure. There's responsibilities, of course. So settling down is a lot harder for me. And then I get bored. I get bored with it. So out here, yeah, there's some boring times, but not that much. I mean, because, things are always changing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty old now too, so I don't mind having a slower life,
Nice. Yeah, that's good. I always felt like that was the better way to ride anyways. Just take your time, What's the need for rushing?
Well, if you want to get somewhere fast, cars are infinitely superior, but for pleasure, motorcycles are infinitely superior in my opinion, and maybe yours too. And so I try to not make a motorcycle try to do a car's job, right? I try to keep it in the pleasure zone. You understand what I'm saying? In the pleasure zone.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah.
What
kind of bikes?
What's the strangest act of kindness a stranger has ever showed you while you were traveling? Where you said to yourself, "Oh, wow, I can't believe he's doing this for me."
there's been a lot of that. People tend to be really good. I slept in a church to avoid a rainstorm a while back. And the guy, one of the preachers, caught me there in the morning and he took me to his house and he had his wife make me breakfast and he gave me a shower. I've had people hand me money. God, I can't think, it's been so long. There's been so many different situations, so many things that have happened over the years, There's so many different stories. The old stories are some of the funnest. I used to do stuff for Easy Riders magazine, right? And I was younger and I think the adventures were more outrageous, right? I was out chasing all the women in the shit. Now I'm kind of boring by comparison. Yeah. You guys think any more questions?
I got a bunch for you.
Well, let's hear it. Come on now, Johnny. Spit it out.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you about your setup because when we pack the bikes down and we go out, it seems like when you get where you're going, you forgot something, or like I'm at this point in my life, I got a pretty good setup, but when I'm going and we're camping or something, I'm pretty good. But I was going to ask you about yours. Like, what are your essentials? I mean, I know you're in tents a lot and that kind of thing, but I didn't know if you minded kind of running through your setup a little bit.
Well, let's see. By the end of the second year, I realized I was going to need a better house because I spent a lot of time at home. I'm a homebody. I was going to need a better camp. And I began to experiment with stuff. And that is a personal thing because guys like different stuff, right? But what I have is basically a cheap tent. I would buy the expensive ones, but I don't think they last longer. And every time I go get another one, it costs a fortune. So I got a cheap tent and a piece of foam rubber for the mattress, right? And because the air mattresses overleak, they don't last. And I have 2 down quilts, no sleeping bags anymore. I had them for years, 2 down quilts, and a big tarp. In Oregon, I was at a rally up there long ago, and I watched the guys come in. It was a big camp out on a guy's property. It was really kind of a wild scene. And they all came in and immediately strung tarps up over their camps. And I thought, well, take a lesson, Scotty. This is Oregon, right? These guys know what they're doing. And I've kept a big tarp ever since. So if it rains, the tarp covers the bike and the tent. The other thing I had to learn was how to make the motorcycle charge everything. The motorcycle charges the tablet I use to make the videos with. It charges phones. It charges the lighting. It's like having a house plug. You just plug stuff in there, drop it in, leave it overnight. I should make a video about how that works. So With all that, it's pretty easy. But that's such a personal thing, Johnny. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
different
I know.
Guys like different stuff.
Yeah.
You got to work it out for yourself.
You must keep a ton of tools on you.
I do. Oh, I will say this about the tents. I like a 3-man tent. I have a 7x7 foot floor, so I like 3-man. 2-man is just too small. And then maybe you get your girl with you too, and there's really no room. 3's pretty good.
Yeah. It was Scotty. Has there ever been a town, a campsite, a bar, or a stretch of highway that felt almost spiritual to you? That you felt like you were close to God?
Countless. There's been countless.
Yeah.
Of those. Haven't you had that?
Of
Dave?
course. Absolutely, I have. And I felt I raised both hands up in the air, and I thank God for the life that He's given me when I'm experiencing something like that. Because it's something I think that you can only experience when you're on the road.
Maybe so, and maybe that's what I got addicted to. Maybe that's what we're all addicted to, huh?
Love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So some of us are just motorcycle addicts and can never quit. If you're a motorcycle addict, there is no cure.
Yeah.
Get back to Johnny's question about the gear. What's something that newer riders always overpack, and what's something that they forget that actually always matters?
I think having a light readily available. Guys got a headlight. I can't tell you how many guys have asked me to use my light that I got mag light on my hip so they can go find their headlight in the dark. So I say that's pretty good. But we all start off with overpacked. That's normal, right? And you got to work it out. You know what I mean? Everybody does that goes through that. I did. First trips I went on, I could hardly fit under the telephone wires, And then you get like, well, I don't need that, and I do need this, you know, and I need one of those. I say a light that's easy to get to.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
That's great.
Scott, I wanted.
There's a ton. Huh? Can you hear
Sorry,
me?
you're breaking. You broke up. Yeah, we
Breaking
just
up
lost you
again?
for 1 second.
Yeah,
Now
it's
you're
because
back.
her damn daughter is calling her on his phone. You got to understand, we're out at this campground out here in the sticks, and we don't have good reception out here.
You're
We're at
living
this
it,
rally.
man. This is very authentic on the road footage.
Yeah, and I got all these guys next to me talking loud and all that.
I was going to ask you what your worst breakdown was.
I've lost engines, transmissions, and a lot of those have been some of my best stories.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, they've been some of the greatest stories. And it's weird the way things come when you need them if you're patient and you just do the next indicated thing, right? I lost my starter in Crowheart, Wyoming once, and that's like the middle of nowhere. And it's like Crowheart has one store with a gas station. I mean, the store sells stuff for cattle in it, right? Because there's ranchers out there. That's all they got. Next door, they got a metal building, a guy who works on machines, tractors, lawnmowers, whatever you bring them across the street, they got a volunteer fire department. That's all there is. I couldn't get this bike to start. And it's an older bike, which is a bastard year, my last one uses a Hitachi starter. That's a shovel head starter. They're not common. I'm out here and I can't get this thing to start. I go talk to the guy in the metal building. He's got a friend. He calls him up. The guy's an FXR junkie. But he hates electric starters, so always takes him off, puts on a Kickstarter. So he's got them. He said, I can't bring it till you the next day. I asked the guy, is there any place I can sleep here? He goes, go sleep in the church. There's a little one-room church down there. I said, really? He said, yeah, leave the door open in case anybody needs to sleep in there. But I have story after story like that. What you need, haven't you ever had that happen? Things come when you need them. Maybe not right away, and maybe you're going to sit in the rain for a while.
Definitely. Yeah.
I think we've all seen that we have some kind of guardian angel, right?
Yep.
Definitely.
How much survival on the road do you think is mechanical skills versus people skills, or do you think it's a healthy dose of both?
I don't know. My people skills aren't the greatest of the people I've known. But one of the things is I started off here with lousy social skills, but especially early on before the cell phones, it was too lonely. And I had to learn how to meet people quickly. Right. And so every guy I know that's been out here a long time has been forced to improve their social skills to the best of their personal ability. So you feel close to God out there on the motorcycles, huh, Dave?
Oh, absolutely.
So
Are you a believer, Scotty?
I'm not religious, but I think the guy. Did you guys?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll fed each other. We can talk about that kind of spiritual thing, right? I don't push that stuff on them, but it's almost like the way it was for me for a long time. I lived in that big house, and I'm doing this job I hate, and I've got all these responsibilities, but it was like my heart was pulling me to something else. And I'll tell you guys when a big change was. Remember I told you that I lived in San Diego, and I would save money and then travel in the summers, right? Some years I ran out of money and still kept going and made it home. But this year, when the spring came, I was going to Daytona. It wasn't spring. Daytona's in March. I had $500. And I didn't have them going to Florida. Never been there. I didn't have enough money to get back, right? But I know I'm supposed to be doing this. I was inspired by the Peace Pilgrim. I was inspired by some other people who had done things similar that I won't bother getting into. And I looked up and I said, you know my situation. You know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I know it. You can feel it, right? I said, I'm going to take off on blind faith this year. We're going to see if you can keep a man and motorcycle going across this big country. And I left there and I went to Florida and I stayed in Florida a few months. I ended up in Canada. I ended up in South Dakota. I ended up all these places. I was gone for 9 months. I left California with $500. I got back with $550. And I didn't know the things I know now, right? So what it seemed to me, if there is a God, I don't know. All I know is when I act like there's one, I live better for it. That's all I know, right? When I act like there's not one, I suffer for it. That's all I really fucking know about it. Can we
Well, hey,
cuss on this?
well said. Yep.
So,
Yep.
so things changed for me that year, and it was like this. The way I seen it is, if there is a God, it was like he was saying to me, "That's okay, Scotty. You can stay in that little gilded cage you built for yourself out of fear for the rest of your life if you want. You got free will, brother."
Mm.
But your heart calls you, your gut calls you to something else. It calls different people to different things, right? And the place where I call you from, and if you follow it, then I'll stay with you. If you decide to take the chance and go with me, then I'll stay with you for the entire duration of the trip. And although the road may become bumpy at times, like as life often does, sometimes does, right? As we travel together, you will come to know and love your true self. Now, that's a little bit deeply philosophical, but that's really the way I seen it. It's hard to really trust fate or faith or whatever it is when things are real. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
We talk about trusting God, but what we really trust is money, because it's hard to trust something you can't hold in your hand. But I took off for all them years, and in actuality, at the rallies that I was working later on, I didn't really make enough to get through the year, and somehow I always did, and I don't know why. You see what I'm saying?
Do you communicate with your what you consider to be your higher power or whoever it is in your mind when you're going down the road? Are you doing the internal dialogue thing?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm not religious, and if there is a God, sometimes I think he's a prick, and I tell him that. But that's how I deal with him. So yeah, I do say prayers. I do say prayers, but I don't have a king, bro. I got like a buddy who I think's an asshole sometimes, and I tell him about it. I'm like, "What's the matter with you?"
Well, that's
You
the
need to
best way,
connect with somebody.
anyways. That's
Yeah.
whatever. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yep.
I wanted to ask you, Scotty, what's your favorite place that you've ever been? Can you put a pin on that? Can you actually say? I mean, I know America's beautiful and Mexico and whatever, but is there a place that you can point to as like your favorite place to ride?
Favorite place to ride in for riding?
Destination and riding. Yeah.
Well, I always answer that with a question: for what? For like fun or parties or for beauty or for scenery. For scenery, I would say Southern Utah. It's probably America's best kept secret. You can't really go wrong with the Smoky Mountains either. Two of the best rides I ever took was in the mountains in Mexico, so I can't nail it down. But for rides here in the U.S., Southern Mexico or Southern Utah is one of the best. You ever guys been across it?
Never.
No, I went out to Montana, Nevada, Wyoming, but never down to Southern Utah. Oh no, wait. Oh gosh, I forget. I don't know. I don't remember. I would have remembered.
Remember it, Dave. It looks like Mars. It looks like Mars, and it's like not a lot of people know about it. It's not like Yellowstone where it's crowded. It's not like that so much. There's less tourists, and it's just phenomenal. And you can always camp anywhere along the way. So I'd say Southern Utah, but you got to catch it because it's hot in the summer and cold in the winter. You got to kind of catch it right. I got a few videos back there, at least one that of going through it. A few of them somewhere back there. So I'd say that and then the Smoky Mountains. I love the Smoky Mountains. It's hard to nail that one down. I mean, what do you say? Where have you been?
It's a tough question. I love Tennessee, and I love the Blue Ridge. I think one of the coolest places I ever rode was when we were on Mount Mitcham, Dave. When we were going up the mountain, and the elevation there is crazy, and it was like mist in the air. We were going through the mountain. They made a hole in the middle of the mountain, and you're driving right through this hole,
Johnny, we call that a tunnel. Some of us call that a tunnel.
They made a tunnel through the mountain.
Just letting you know.
To me, that was the coolest kind of scenery. That like Skyline Drive and the tail, we did the touristy stuff like the Tail of the Dragon and stuff, but that like Tennessee and West Virginia, that to me, the Carolinas was just, I thought was breathtaking.
Remember, I just said the Smoky Mountains too.
Yep.
So I'm with you on that. There's something about the plains can get kind of monotonous, but there's something about them. They have a wide open feeling of freedom. Have you noticed that? You've been across them?
I've never been across them.
Well, like in the Smoky Mountains, after a while, because you can't like see in any great distance in any direction. So, but when you come out of there, if you're going west, when you come into the plains, it's like this wide open. So there's a feeling of freedom to it. I think I'm not the only one who said that. I've heard that. My old girlfriend used to say that about it.
Well, mine was in Montana real quick. I was coming up the ridge, and there was these two mountains side by side, and I was coming up in the top of the ridge, and all of a sudden it just opened up into this such vast expanse that, and we were traveling at a good rate of speed. I wanted to stop because it was so breathtaking, and there was so much to take in at one time that I was left speechless, right? And I said, I just want to stop and take it in for a little bit. And I've always remembered that. This was, I don't know, probably 15, 16 years ago, but that image to me always stands out. This one spot, Montana, I wish I knew exactly where it was, but that was unbelievable for me.
That's going to be western Montana, yeah, in the mountains.
Yeah. I gotta bringing it back to a little philosophical, if you don't mind. Is there ever a point where freedom becomes another kind of prison, or where almost you can't go back to the normal life, even if you wanted to?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying earlier. It's too hard for me. But I also will say most people would not want to do this. It takes a certain kind of twisted personality. This idiot next to me has been on the road for many years too. He's a homeless guy too. We got a couple of them here besides me. Most guys would be more happy with just maybe if they could get a couple months. So I've told guys before, maybe if you simplify your lifestyle and bring your bills down, you can get some more time to get out. The majority of guys don't want to do this full time. It takes a certain kind of crazy. It really does. But if you have it, you never be happy doing nothing else. And the other thing is at first it's really great and it's really fun going everywhere, seeing everything, and you begin to run into hard parts. And a lot of people go home at that point. But the guys who persist and figure out methods to get around these hard parts, that's when it gets easy. That's when you become really free. There's these hard parts.
I want to.
And the different guys work them out in their own way. I've seen different guys work it out. The other side of that, once you got a system out here, then it's hard to ever stop. Yeah, it's hard to ever stop. That makes any sense? I don't know.
Sure.
I wanted to ask you, your buddy Pan. What I know is Panhead something. I can't remember. The guy
Billy.
I asked you last time I talked to you, Panhead Billy. Is he still out and about?
No, man, he's like aged out. He's got arthritis and he needs a shoulder replacement, a hip replacement. Last few years I've seen him, he hasn't been able to ride his bike. But I used to see him everywhere, and I learned a bunch of things from watching him, really, just from watching him. He rode a 1960 Panhead with a rigid frame. And I'm telling you, the bike didn't have a brake light, didn't have a gauge on it. It didn't have high beams, just lights on and off. Really bare bones, kickstart only. And the thing looked like it's ready to just fall apart right there in front of you. I'd see him in California. I'd see him in Daytona. I'd go up to Laconia. I'd see him in New Hampshire. I'd run into him in South Dakota. I was just like, one of the things that I learned a few things from him. One is the bike doesn't have to be perfect. I don't want mine in as ratty a condition as his, but I've seen you could do it. And the other thing what I was having trouble with at the time when I met him is I began to wonder about my sanity, because who wants to live on the road? I didn't know anybody else doing it. And I thought maybe I'm crazy. And Billy, he'd been on the road, I think, 18 years at the time. And to him, it was perfectly normal. So he helped me with that. He also slowed me down. I traveled with him a bit. And he traveled very relaxed and we stopped anytime we wanted, and we didn't go as many miles. And I changed my riding after that first ride with him. I didn't do the high miles like that anymore. I began to slow it down because I enjoyed the ride with him so much. I began to adopt what he does.
Yeah.
So that's a few things I got from him. But yeah, he's living in a pickup truck. We see him in Sturgis, but he can't ride the bike.
That's a bummer. How many guys like you are there that you know?
Well, there's nobody as cool as me, of course, but we do have guys like Eric here. We got Eric. We got Sid over here. I think he's been on the road for about 12 years. A lot of these guys don't really want. They don't want to really be in video. They don't want any publicity. Some of them.
Yeah.
We have Barbara Jean, and she been on the road. I don't know, 20 years or more. She does things very different from me. I did a video where I talked about her a while back. Who else do we have? We have Joe Rader. He's a little different though because he likes to go overseas in the winter. But other than that, there's one that I used to know. I haven't seen him for a few years. So it's a small handful.
Yeah.
It's a small handful.
Scotty,
Especially guys that make it work for long term. But it can be done, obviously. Joe Sparrow, he's doing pretty good too. He put 580,000 miles on a Goldwing for it. Finally, really broke.
That's unbelievable.
He worked at the rallies. He's gotten old though. He's starting to mellow out.
do you think some people romanticize road life without really understanding the discomfort and the sacrifice that goes along with it?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Any guy told me, if I'm gonna get rid of everything I own, I'm gonna hit the road. I'm gonna do like you do. I'm like, and I never tell. I'm like, dude, why don't you bring your expenses down, start taking more trips, stick your toe in the water before you do something that drastic? Yeah. See if it's for you. Try it out. I tell you something though, if I could have rode with me for just 2 weeks when I was younger, I would have got learned so much faster. It would have been so much better because most of the stuff that I know is hard won. There's 100 tricks, man. And for every new one you learn, it makes your trips a little better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask you what you'd tell your younger self when you got on the road.
Well, there's just a lot of things. I don't think it would change too much because I really have had a lot. I'm so glad I spent my youth doing that.
Yeah.
I am so glad I spent my youth like this. But when you get old, you can't do all the things. It's not the same. So, but it would just be about teaching the methods out here, the different methods I use. Because traveling, I like traveling myself sometimes because it's generally very easy. It has hard times, but for the most part, it's very easy. What do you think, Penny? Do you agree? You can turn that off, Penny. What do you think, Penny?
Agree with what?
Traveling with me. She's been traveling with me for a little bit. It's easy. That's what she said. Because all these different tricks that I use, and each one makes it a little easier. How to get free showers in the truck stops. I could talk about different trips I've taken and the methods I used to make it easier and better.
I was gonna ask you about that. Like, how do you plug in as much normal living as you can? Creature comforts like showers, and are you working out on the road? Are you getting down and doing push-ups and stuff when you how are you doing like your routine? You know,
I was a gym rat in my youth. I was a very serious gym rat, and so I'm always hooking up with a gym which gives you showers. So what I'll do is I can come into your town and I'll find a nice place, someplace it's kind of private, and I like private places the best. Obviously, I like to be able to get up in the morning, walk outside naked, and take a piss, and not have people around. And then I will stay there, and I'll hook up with a YMCA or a gym there, and I'll get showers there. Maybe I'll sit and work on my computer in the morning, and then I begin to do the social things around town. Maybe there's, I go to the bike shops, and maybe they're having a bike night. I start doing local things.
Yeah.
Local cookouts, things in the park, and start getting to know the locals, right? A lot of guys think, well, they're going to come out here and hit the road. And I'll tell you what, man, this is what people don't realize is you're going to have, now you're in a new town and you have hours and days and weeks and months on your hands. What are you going to do? So you come into a new town in Billings, Montana. It's the middle of the week. Everybody's in work mode. What are you going to do? Right? People don't realize that retirement can get boring. And so what they'll do is we'll go, well, Joe, ain't nothing going on in this town. Let's go to the next one. Then ain't nothing in this town. Let's go to the next one. The next town, and the next one's home. Right? So everybody that's out here any amount of time gets a routine. I will be in a town for a couple of weeks. I'll become a local. I'll get to know some of the people. So there's a few things I think that are really important. One of them is being able to stay clean. Another one is a social life. And another one, it's important, is a good home, right? Those are the three things I think that are really important in a routine. There's actually four. So try traveling and actually being dirty, right? And not be like, hey, brother, you got to shower. It's been 4 days. You can do this for a week or a month or a summer, but try doing it for 10 years, okay? And so going different places, being dirty, being friendless, and really being homeless, it sucks. You'll want to go home. But now, if you could go to different towns and have a place to stay that worked for you, be able to stay clean, which is part of the social scene and a social life, you'll never want to go home.
Yeah.
And then everybody that stays out here that I've seen gets a routine. Panhead Billy's is much different than mine, but mine is I'll wake up late, I'll drink coffee, I'll read a book, maybe I'll think on the phone, I'll work on the computer, I get up, I go to a gym, I get cleaned up there, I like to bang the weights around, and then I will begin to look into anything that's going on in the town I will go do, and I'll start to meet people. Right? If you can have those things, then you won't never want to go home.
Yeah.
Just bouncing from town to town where you don't know anybody, that'll wear you down.
Yeah. Nomad life, man.
Is there anything that you still want to see or experience, or before it ends?
Really. I went to. There comes a point, Joe Rader's got a video where he put it pretty well, but there comes a point where you've seen so much beautiful stuff that kind of wears off. And then when that happened for me, then what happened more was it became more about the people I was going to meet and the adventures I was going to have.
Nice.
I was going to ask you about, might be a little goofy, but like, what do you think about retirement? What do you think about what's like the next 20 years for Scotty?
Been retired for quite a while, Dave. Johnny, that's Johnny asking me that one, right?
But I mean, like,
retired.
Your immediate, are you gonna stick with the nomad life into the twilight years?
I'm 66, brother. Some of the guys out here are like 80. Some of these guys rode in out here are like 80.
Yeah, are you gonna keep it keep going like you're going?
Yeah, I mean, I'm retired now. I consider myself retired. I used to be chasing all the action and all the women and going to all the rallies. And nowadays, I stay in towns longer and mellow out longer. I don't, what are you doing tomorrow? You got an alarm clock or Monday? What are you doing Monday? You got an alarm clock?
Yeah.
You got an alarm clock?
I got an alarm clock, yeah.
Okay, I'm not. I spent the winter in Mexico. I put long pants on twice all winter long.
Yeah, I love those Mexico videos. They're great.
Yeah. So I figure I'm pretty much retired now.
Yeah.
And I travel slowly. I like to do 100 to 200 miles a day. Given the choice. A long day to me is 350 is a long day. So what I'm saying is I'm not beating myself up that much.
Right. You're going to spend more of your winters in Florida and Mexico and the warmer spots and kind of hang down there a little longer.
I've spent them in all the snowbird places. I've stayed in in Arizona, Florida, Southern California, Palm Springs, Cabo San Lucas, down in Mexico. I used to be the young guy there. Now I'm kind of growing into it. So yeah, I just go where it's warm. So the thing is I consider myself retired compared to before. I used to work the rallies. I worked hard jobs. I changed tires, Yeah, and I chased all the women and I went to all the parties, and that's the truth of it. My old stories are some of the better ones, I think,
I love those that video series. I can't remember what you called it. It was like back in the day or back when or something like that. Those are great videos.
They were pictures. I had to take pictures for the magazines. So I have pictures. A lot of those got ruined and get destroyed in a flood too. So I have some left. But yeah, those are hard videos to make for me. For the system that I have, they're really hard to make.
Do you think that the writing culture or the writing world has lost some of its soul now that everything gets filmed and branded and posted online?
I don't know, but I'll tell you what has changed is it used to be young guys, and we had a few old guys, right? Harleys were considered, when I started riding them, they weren't cool. They were considered the citizens, as you know where I got the name Scooter Tramp. You guys know this? Y'all are too young.
No.
It used to be that guys referred to their bikes as a scooter. I'm going to the Harleys were referred to as scooters. I'm going to the store, baby. I'm going to take the scoot, right? And the guy who rode them was a scooter tramp, and the people who didn't were citizens, right? And so back then, the cops hassled us relentlessly. They thought we were all Hell's Angels. The guys I hung out with weren't, but if you had a Harley, that's what they associated it with. You were an outlaw. They hassled us all the time. And the citizens told us, don't ride those motorcycles, boy. Get a job and settle down. And, you know, it's the good life. And I'm sure it was for them, right? So the Harley Davidson was a symbol of rebellion and nonconformity. And that appealed to a lot of us when we were young. And then as it changed and all these guys, the citizens began to ride them, right? Now the citizens are all old. So now it's kind of a symbol of old age and conformity. So I don't know how appealing it is anymore. You go look up 70s or even 80s motorcycle rallies on your phone, and you're going to see most everybody's 20s, 30s. You got occasional old guys. So I think that's one thing that's changed. It's a symbol of old age now. I don't know.
Well, when people hear the name Scooter Tramp Scotty years from now, what do you hope that they understand about you?
I don't know, man. I'm not making stuff just for you guys. I just happen to be doing this anyway. It's not like I'm out making stuff, you know. And I'm not going to get a huge channel because you got to work so hard to do that. And I'm retired. Remember, Johnny? I'm retired.
Yeah.
I don't work that hard. It makes enough to live on. It's all I care about.
That's awesome.
I wanted to ask you about I saw a couple of your videos in a row, and you had mentioned, like, you know, what Mexico is really like, and you know, what, you know, compared to what you hear on the news and all that, you know. And it seems like every place I see you in a video in Mexico, it looks awesome. It looks peaceful, looks quiet, you know. And you turn on the news, it looks like a war zone. And you know, how much of that in your life, like when you're traveling around down there in Mexico, are you worried where you're at? Is it you know, dangerous, anything like that? I've never been down there.
It certainly isn't anything like they tell you. And a lot of the gringos, a lot of them have been living down there 20 and 30 years. So the amount of troubles I've had there have been minimal. So the news for sure exaggerates it, for sure. And a lot of it's lies. I was there for that last cartel thing they had going, and it was fake. They faked it to scare the people. I was there in that area. They faked it to scare the people in the north and to probably give themselves an excuse to invade yet another country. You know, the way we're always invading countries now, and they want it, right? So it was that one. I don't know about the others, but that one was fake. So what I'm saying is they lie a lot. So I've not had any big problems, and I found most people to be pretty cool. I've paid my share of bribes. They call it mordida, especially in the past. Now, you know, any of the mafia guys down there, if they have any brain at all, they don't want anybody messing with the tourists. They don't want anybody killing the goose that laid the golden egg, right? So it's almost like having a get out of jail free card by being a gringo. But it's not. The vast majority of the people are just people raising a family, trying to get by, have a barbecue on the weekend, send their kids to school, you know, just regular people. That's the vast majority. So no, man, they got their problems, but I've not personally found it to be any more dangerous than the United States, just different. And but I've only been going there 25 or 30 years, so maybe I just don't know yet.
You know, are you basically like at the top of the country, or do you go deeper down?
No, I go way down. Yeah, I go way down. I want to get away from the border. I'm trying to get to where it's warmer. You know, I want to get down into the tropics. I like getting down in the tropics for the winter. So, you know, the other guy might tell you different, but that's just my experience.
Have you gone down further down into Mexico, like, you know, all the way down towards the bottom of the country?
No, yeah, I've been to the bottom of Mexico. Sure. Quite a few times, but I've never really gone farther. I got no desire to see the world, Johnny. I just want to, you know what it is? It's like, you remember that show Quantum Leap?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. It's like Quantum Leap, man, when you're doing this stuff, which you're constantly bouncing into different realities, right? I was just in Florida hanging with the guys I used to work with on the truck where they change tires and all the people and things going on in there. Before that, I was in Mexico with these guys. I was in Texas hanging with some completely with his family, doing some work in their garage on my bike and helping them with theirs. Now I'm here at where are we at? Mississippi. We're in Mississippi. And so it's like jumping into different realities. That's what it's like, right?
Very,
So
very wow.
yeah. So it's like quantum leap. It really is. So it doesn't get so boring that way.
For someone watching tonight who feels trapped in their normal life, what's the first honest step towards freedom, even if they never quite live, like you?
The only thing I can say about, then this is just my take on it, is what I found is, especially I had a big house, 2 cars, truck, motorcycle, washer and dryer, nice furniture, all that. And what happened was everything that I had brought with it that I let into my life brought a little handful of burdens. It brought a little handful of responsibilities, right? And it was like a scale. The more I had stuff in one side and freedom in the other, and the more I put in one, the more I tilted it the other way. You see what I'm saying? So I'm a little extreme on one end now, but there's plenty of gray area. It can be tuned for in the middle. But only a blind man's going to believe he has both. My rich friends tell me that their stuff owns them. They have a lot of responsibilities. They're holding together businesses or whatever they have, and they're very wealthy, most of them, right? Maybe I'm sure there's exceptions, but I really don't know them. So that was my point, is I traded off freedom for stuff. When I first told my dad I was going to leave my big house, he said, you're screwing up, son, leaving all this success. What did he know of success? I didn't lose anything. I traded, right? I moved into that little trailer and it was like the weight of the world was lifted off my shoulders. And all of a sudden I was making too much money and I didn't have to, I began to be able to take a lot of time off. If I didn't want to work today, I didn't have to. That's when the freedom came out and I began to open up this other part of my life. So that's my experience. So I'm not going to say that's the way to do it, but that's mine.
Yeah,
I
right.
had to tilt that scale the other way, right? I had to let out the stuff, and then all this freedom opened up, and all this time for other things like recreation, like friends, like family. Like I could stay out late now. I didn't have to worry about coming home and getting sleep because I didn't have to get up early in the morning. That's what it really amounts to. A lot of us people ask me about money, and I'm just like, we just don't need as much money,
Mm-hmm.
I
Nice.
wanted to ask you about have you ever thought about writing a book
I
about
did
your
write a
time on the
book.
road?
I did write a book, but it's not about that. No, it's actually a spiritual book, believe it or not. It's on Amazon. That's where the only place I can get it published. All you
What
gotta do is
about
put in ScooterTrampScotty book and it'll come right up. It's got great reviews, but it's not a motorcycle book. It's an idea that hit me while I was crossing Kansas on a back road one year. And the idea I thought was brilliant. It just came to me all at once. And I liked it better than my story personally, so I wrote it. But yeah,
Well,
I should
I'm
write
gonna
one.
check it out. But you definitely need to write a book about being on the road, man.
The problem with that is the videos take up the time enough time that I spend working, and so the
Yeah.
book would put me back into like a normal work week kind of thing, and they
Right.
take forever to write. They're a lot of work, man.
Yeah, I've tried to write a bunch of stuff, and it's not easy for sure.
So you get it, huh?
I get it. Yeah, but my life is not as interesting as your life.
Well, it depends on the person, maybe.
Yeah.
Contentment is where you find it, brother. It's where you find it,
I'm content, but my life is more like house, kids, dog. I'm a carpenter, like I told you before. So my spirit wants to go and do the things that you're doing, but it's like that Bob Seger song, "The Beautiful Loser." You want it both ways. I want to be out doing that, but I also want the family, and I love my family, so I'm in the middle. I want to go out on the bike and be free, and I also want to be with my family. I'm torn.
How old's your kid?
My oldest is 20, and my youngest is 17. I got 3 kids. So I find a lot of contentment there, but it's definitely not without its challenges.
You know how I learned to put a trailer on somebody's property? And see, if you take a trailer and you put on somebody's property, you make a great roommate. Most places, you can find somebody who'd like to have somebody on their property for reasons other than money. Maybe they're not there much. They'd like to have somebody on the property. Maybe they got plants and animals and they'd like to be able to get away. And you're not in the house, so you make a great roommate. You know where I learned it? My mother did. 2 boys. She raised 2 boys doing this.
Wow.
Okay. Out in the hot springs in New Mexico years ago, I met a guy and his son traveling in a wagon with 2 mules pulling them. And every summer he takes his boy out. He leaves the rest of the family. He takes his boy and they go for, I think it was a couple months, and they travel behind the mules in the wagon. I met a guy in Colorado at a little rally up there. He was riding an old BMW, but he takes his son with him every year for a month. And here I'll tell you what's interesting. Now, this is a really interesting one. I met these guys. This guy's another hot springs, this couple, and they had retired and they were moving to Chile. They were on their way to Chile, and I talked with them. And they had walked the Pacific Crest Trail for, I think it was 1.5 years.
Wow.
With their 4 kids.
Oh,
this
my
couple
God.
had walked with their 4 kids. And I asked, and take this, at the end of that time, they had a 5th. She had a kid along the way. And this has blown my mind. He had a really pretty girlfriend. They'd gotten a little older and they were moving to Chile, retiring there. I asked him what that was like. And now I want you to hear his answer, Johnny. He told me, I'm thinking, man, we got some kind of hell there. I said, what was that like? He said, man, at that time, we were the closest we'd ever been as a family. He said, I wanted to do something with my family as a family before everybody grew up and moved away like they have now. He said we'd be low on money, and I think they had a mule. We'd go down to town. I'd go to a car dealership, and I'd tell him, we'll wash all your cars for $1 a piece, man. And he said, and so he'd have his whole family out there. He said we'd be escorting each other with the hose. We'd load the mule up, go back up onto the trail.
Wow.
They tried it in a deserted island once too, but he said that did not work out very well. I'm just saying there's other ways to look at it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
There's alternatives. It doesn't always have to be the one way, you know.
Right.
I lived on communes when I was a kid. You know, it was cheap to live on a commune because so many people live there.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of the video, the hippie communes, and I got the part with the Airstream trailer. He pushed it off a cliff and he landed in the I forget. You said you put a tent on the other side of the Airstream, and it was pretty interesting upbringing.
Oh, my mother told me that. I don't even remember that. She said they were trying to put it down in there and it got away from them, and she just lived in it where it landed. She said it landed across the creek. I don't remember that, but she does.
Yeah, that's interesting. Man.
And I'm just saying there's alternatives.
Yeah.
There's it doesn't always have to be the way everybody else did. There's people who's doing things very different out there. I began to meet them when I was out here. In San Diego, people were doing mostly the same thing, working and paying a bunch of bills. But when I got out on the road, I began to meet different people that were living on boats, different things. That's where I met them.
Yeah.
Where would you say is the definition of real wealth?
I think everyone's happy, you know.
Right. Ready? I can answer that right away. Knowing God, I think that's the real wealth. I think if you know who God is, I think you don't have to worry a day in your life. That's what I think. That's real wealth.
What do you got, Johnny?
I was gonna say, as long as your family is happy and they all have their health, I don't think there's any. To me, like, the health thing is the scariest part of life. If you lose your health, I mean, I haven't, you know, but I had a surgery a few months ago. So for me, it's like the first time in my life I'm limited. I can't do what I want. And it's, you know, it's scary to not have your health. And for me, if everyone's healthy and everyone's happy, I feel, it sounds cliche, but to me, I really feel like that's living, you know?
You're definitely right. When your health goes, you're screwed. Watch what you're eating these days. The poison, that food's full of poison. I mean, real poison. I noticed that I go to Mexico, I feel so much better. I come back here, I'm reading labels. But I'm going to tell you what I think wealth is, and you guys can see what you think of this. I think that for me, real wealth is when you find that you like yourself more often than you don't, and you even think you're a really cool person a lot of the time, somebody you like to be around more often than you don't. And when you find that you like your life more often than you don't, and you're even excited about it a good portion of the time, like think it's really cool, that's wealth. Because nobody has those two things all the time. Nobody. That's life. Get used to it. But if you don't have those two things at all, I don't care if you're a billionaire, you're poor. The suicide rate among rich is identical as that among poor. Did you know that?
No.
That statistic tells a lot. And if you have those two things to a reasonable degree, who cares how you get them or how you maintain them? It don't matter if you're a family guy or you run vast empires or you're a gypsy drifter like me, you're wealthy. We're going to die before much longer. People won't live that long. Soon after we die, everybody that knew us is going to die, and we're going to be as forgotten as my great-great-great-great-granddaddy. I couldn't tell you anything about him. Could you tell you about yours, right? I mean, does anybody even remember Humphrey Bogart? He was famous. Us, forget it.
Right.
Yep,
So I always, I say, I think, you can run to the grave or you can stroll to the grave. Either way, it takes the same amount of time. If that makes any sense, right?
No, I get it. Yeah, it does.
A lot of the health up here is from the food.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I think RFK is I don't know how I feel about the entire thing, but I'm glad he's trying to make some changes and trying to make some of these food manufacturers and everything more accountable. I'm not crazy about a lot of the stuff recently that's happened with him, but at least it's like somebody's talking about food. Somebody's talking about, the stuff that no one's talking about. He's, we're talking about it again. So I'm happy about that.
Well, let's hope he does more than talking, because there's a lot of talk these days. I've been traveling a little bit with somebody who lost 300 pounds, a woman, and I've changed the way we're eating, and we've been making salads and reading labels, and I feel a lot better. Also in Mexico too, from doing that, read the labels backwards. And we've been making these big salads with chicken, and I can tell. I've been doing it for her. I'm not eating ice cream in front of, because she's,
Yeah, well, you probably stay away from fast food and all that anyways. You're kind of like, in decent shape, and you're not eating at McDonald's, are you?
No, I wouldn't eat McDonald's anymore. I gave that up a long time ago.
Yeah.
That stuff ain't food.
It's going to be tough on the road eating healthy while you're on the road.
It is. The salads are a good one.
Yeah.
You get everything and just keep mixing it into the bowl and keep building it up and eating it. They're a good one. But yeah, it is. It's tougher for sure. You got a stove. It's a lot easier.
Yeah, it's amazing that they want you to actually pay more to be a healthy person. It doesn't, it takes pennies to eat like crap. But if you actually, want some good food, you got to shell out some dough.
It costs more, but I think it's really a lot about reading the labels.
Sure.
Reading ingredients,
Yep.
I read them backwards sometimes. And a lot of people I know have been doing that. They buy from farmers, but you're right. They've made it hard to get decent food. The small towns I stay in down in Mexico, a lot of that stuff's raised by local people because they don't have as much opportunities. You got a guy over here who's raising chickens. You got a guy over there who's, you got fruit growing on the trees. You know what I mean? A lot of it's more local.
Well, we decided, Scotty, we're trying to keep the podcast for just about an hour. So I'm going to give it to Johnny to see if he has any more questions for you. Johnny, do you have any more?
Scotty, I think it was awesome that you came on with us. I'd love to talk to you again if you were ever into it. I can't thank you enough. Your life is so interesting, and just very grateful you came on. And those of you out there, if you have questions about Evo motorcycles, this is the guy. This is the guy. He knows more about Evo bikes, Evo Harley Davidsons than anybody in the world, probably. So
You gonna
I
leave a
just
link to my?
appreciate. Yeah,
You gonna leave a link to my channel, right, Johnny?
Yep. Yep.
All right.
I'll
Yeah,
do that.
I'm on Rumble too. Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, and YouTube, and it's all under Scooter Tramp Scotty.
Okay, so Scotty, if I leave a link to your YouTube channel, can everybody find it from the YouTube channel, or do you want me to post all those all that stuff for you? It's no problem.
Well, of course, guys. That's what talking with each other. I made a little thing saying I was going to be on yours, and I couldn't leave a link because I couldn't get a link to the actual channel. But I told them what to look for.
Okay, yeah, you got it. You want me to leave a link to your book too? How's that too?
Sure, if you want. If you go into Amazon and put in Scooter Tramp Scotty book, it comes right up. It's called Josie's Journey.
You got it. I will definitely put it below the video and all the relevant information so people can see you, get a hold of you, try to support you, and all that good stuff. And like I want to thank you again for coming on. You didn't have to, and so I appreciate the time. And I pray to God for your safety on the road.
I want to see you out there, man. I want to ride.
Well, you got my number, Johnny.
When are you coming north?
Anybody who wants to get a hold of me generally can if they ask. I'll be like, yeah, I can't. You know what I've been doing? I've been giving them somebody else's phone number, and I'm like, text yours to her, because if I put mine out there, sometimes it doesn't work out well.
Are you planning on coming up north at all? We're in the Northeast. We're in Boston area.
No, I ain't coming up to that area.
Well, I don't blame you.
Yeah, I got to go to North Carolina. I'm going to go check out my new bike. I may start riding it this year.
Cool.
Say I'm gonna, but I don't trust myself. I'm kind of a liar about. I love my old bike, right? But it's got like 200. It's got 235,000 or so on it now, and the other one's like new. You know how cheap they are, but I love my old one.
Real quick before we go, what is the maximum amount of mileage you've put on a Harley Davidson? Everyone needs to know this.
534,000 miles on one bike.
Unbelievable.
Nice.
Yeah, my last one.
That's
After
awesome,
that, it
man.
fell apart like a clown car, though.
Oh, no. That's unbelievable.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, thanks again for coming on, Scotty. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Either one of you guys will ever want to just talk to me, just call me. You got to send me a text and I'll call you back. Anybody really wants to get a hold of me, leave comments in my videos, and I'll figure out a way that we can talk.
Scotty,
we have guys who come, who want to hit the road and want to come with me, and I'm like, well, as long as you come to where I am, like that kind of thing.
Scotty, I'm going to
go in the same way. Huh?
We're going to talk about the deep things. I'm going to call you. We're going to talk about the spiritual things.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and I'm going to call you next time I'm in the middle of a motorcycle job.
Yep.
About what?
I said next time I'm in the middle of a motorcycle job and I'm up.
Yeah, you want to for sure.
I'm over my head,
Yeah, you want to for sure call me. Usually you got to text me and I'll call back because I don't tend to carry my phone.
Yeah.
So if I don't answer, give me a call. That book of mine, Dave, is a spiritual book, and it's a brilliant story. It hit me all while I was crossing a back road in Kansas. The idea, the different characters, the name of the book, what was going to happen. It was crazy. I never had nothing like that happen. And I was going to Denver and I had a spot there and I spent 3 days pounding furiously on my keyboard, putting down the ideas as they were coming. And on the fourth day it ran out and it was like, and then it took me years to finish writing it. You might like it if you're into the spiritual stuff, but it's not a flowery spiritual book. It's not like nice prayers and shit like that. It's done in story. And some of it is pretty rough, pretty graphic.
That's okay.
It's really about a guy who's trying to get through the pearly gates, but I'm not religious. I use that metaphorically.
Hey, Scotty, I'm not religious either. I believe in the Bible and I believe in God, and I don't call that being religious. I just call that believing in God.
Either way, I got no problem either way, bro. I got no problems with either way, how another person sees it. I'm just saying, if you look at the reviews or you look at what it's about, if you get around there, it's a spiritual book. Well, who reads books anymore, right? It's all video. I do too. You do too?
Absolutely.
Young guys reading books and young guys riding Harley or riding motorcycles. What do you ride, Dave? That's an Evo, right? You guys both got Evos.
Yeah, 97 Road King, Evo, yep.
Harley asked me a little while back. They said, what do you think we should do to get the young guys? You know what I told them? I told them, go to the swap meets and ask them. That's where you find most of them. They're looking for parts for their old FXR. Ask them what they want.
That's so true.
That's right. And here you guys are. You both are a lot younger than me and screwing around with old Harleys.
I'm on an 86.
You can mess with.
Yeah, man. 86 FXRS. It's an old girl.
My buddy up in North Carolina, he's got an 86 FXR. That was the guy who I'm going where my bike is. I know it's time to get off of here. That's cool.
No, man. We'll talk to you.
That's all right. I can talk for hours.
But I will 100% call you next time I'm in over my head in my motor or whatever I'm tinkering with, because I always hit the ceiling. I'm always like, I start making phone calls to the people I know that know more than me, and now you're on the list.
Right. I do the same thing. I do the same thing when I get in trouble, when I can't figure it out. It's my go-to.
Yep.
All my buddies who own shops.
You're the Evo doctor, so you're getting a call from me at some point.
Yeah, I'll look forward to it. If I know the answer, I'll give it to you. If I know, or what if I've had I probably have had the problem before.
Well, I'm sure you have, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Scotty, you stay safe out there, man. And
all right, guys.
God bless you, and happy road travels. I hope you have a great time out there.
Been a pleasure. I hope this helps your channel or whatever.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'll look forward to hearing from you guys again.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Scotty.
You call me when you call me. If you ever want to do another podcast, let me know. And if any of your viewers want to get a hold of me, I'm get a holdable for people who are interested in road life or want to hit the road and stuff. I can be gotten hold of, just so people know.
Look forward to talking to you again.
All right, brothers.
Thanks, Scotty.
Bye.